Ever feel like you know the material, but your brain blanks on test day? Well, you're not alone. It's not just about what you know, but how you handle the pressure. So let's talk about the mind games of test taking and how to win, basically against yourself. When you're facing an exam, the true challenge lies not just in your knowledge, but in mastering your own mind so that you can demonstrate the knowledge. So it's this sort of psychological game you play against yourself, this strategic battle to overcome your anxiety and outsmart your brain's natural tendencies under pressure, which is to forget things or maybe shut down even in the face of anxiety. But if you can understand these mental processes, you can develop powerful strategies to master your performance in the exam room, whatever kind of test it is that you're taking. So, excellent test taking skills are just as important as the knowledge you've studied. They can help you stay calm, manage your time effectively, and of course, boost your score. As I said in the study tips video, we'll be talking about a number of strategies for test taking. Not everything works for everyone, so pick and choose which strategies you want to try, which ones you think would work best for you, but also keep your mind open to trying other strategies if at first you don't succeed. Now, there may be some trial and error, and that's totally normal as you curate the perfect studying and test taking approaches. Okay, let's talk about before the test and during the test. So there are strategies for both. Before the test, the thing I want you to do, if you haven't seen it already, is check out the study skills videos that I did. It was a 4-part series. Go back and watch those because they elaborate on several of the things I'm going to just briefly mention here. But first is practice. So if practice tests are an option, do as many as you can before your exam. You can also have someone else quiz you using your notes or your flashcards, whatever materials you have. They can quiz you based on those. It's really important that you prioritize sleep. So we talked about this before. Good night's sleep is a non-negotiable. It allows your brain to consolidate memories, hold the information, and ensures, of course, that you're well rested and alert for the exam itself. Cramming all night is far less effective than a good night's rest. It may be challenging to get sleep if you're anxious about your exam the next day. So be sure to implement some sleep hygiene principles the night before and do your best to get some shut-eye. If you want some ideas on that, you can head to drbellingrat.com and search sleep hygiene in the little browser bar there, and it'll pull up a lot of different pointers for helping with sleep hygiene. I also have a sleep course on the Psychoeducation Academy, so you can check that out. Okay, next is to eat and hydrate. Be sure to fuel your body before your exam, right? Have a balanced breakfast or a light meal. Make sure it includes protein to help with focus and energy. And then you want to avoid foods that are really high in sugar because that can cause a crash or even sort of fog up your brain and affect your thinking. Of course, you want to drink plenty of water to stay hydrated because dehydration can affect focus and concentration as well, believe it or not. Next is to arrive early. So don't stress yourself out by racing there. Get there 10 to 15 minutes early, gives you time to settle in, use the restroom, and get organized without feeling rushed. So you can do some deep breathing before you get started. Next is to practice mind games. So you have to visualize yourself doing well on the test. This is where deep breathing exercises can be used to calm anxiety. That can really help. And any negative self-talk should be replaced with positive affirmations that you actually believe. I'm prepared for this, or I'm ready to do my best. Next is to do a brain dump. So if it's allowed, as soon as you get your test, quickly jot down any formulas, dates, or key terms on a piece of scratch paper. This gets the information out of your head and onto the paper so you don't have to worry about holding on to it and remembering everything or forgetting it. Okay, so then let's think about during the test. Again, here, pick and choose what you'd like to try, okay? The first thing I want you to do, though, is go through the test and answer the easiest questions first. Start with the questions you know you can answer quickly and confidently. This builds momentum and confidence, and it ensures you get the maximum number of points in the shortest amount of time. Don't psych yourself out by keeping track of or worrying about how many questions you're skipping in the process of doing this. Not helpful. What we're doing is we're building up your confidence first. We're creating that positive feedback loop. Confidence breeds success, breeds confidence, breeds success. And you'll have plenty of time to go back and answer the other questions after your first pass through the test. Just go through and get that confidence up. Next, you want to manage your time. So you do want to keep an eye on the clock without being obsessive, of course. But if you get stuck on a difficult question, don't waste too much time on it. Make a note to come back to it later and then just move on. It's better to answer 5 easy questions than to spend all your time on one hard one. That doesn't make a lot of sense when you think about the points, right? Next is to read directions carefully. Now, this seems obvious, of course, but so many people lose points by not following instructions. You want to pay attention to key words like except, not, always, never, or all of the following. Make sure you look for those and read the question thoroughly. Then you want to trust your gut, but still be smart. So don't choose an answer you've never heard of. And don't change an answer unless you are absolutely certain that your first instinct was wrong. Instinct comes from the subconscious mind, which holds information that the conscious mind may not. So trusting your gut is often the best way to go. And overthinking can lead to changing a correct answer to an incorrect one. Don't spend too much time on any one question. Next is to not look for patterns. So don't worry if several answers involve the same letter in a row. You got 5 B's in a row. The software used to build the test doesn't pay attention to this, so you shouldn't either. Don't worry about that. Next is to avoid comparison. So don't pay attention to how quickly others seem to be flipping the pages of the test booklet or moving through the questions, turning in their exams. It's not a race, so don't worry about other people finishing ahead of you. Focus on managing your time and reviewing your work calmly and at a steady pace. Now let's look at specific types of questions. So when it comes to multiple choice, you want to read the question and try to answer it in your head before you look at the options. And then eliminate the choices you know are wrong. Now, if you can't find what you know to be the right answer, just look for the most specific, grammatically correct, or longest answer. Sometimes that can be a helpful tip if all else fails. When it comes to essay questions, before you just launch into writing, you want to create a brief outline to organize your thoughts. Look for key words in the prompt like analyze, compare, contrast, or explain. Let those guide your answer. And then be concise, stick to the facts, and make sure you write legibly. True, false. So remember that for a statement to be true, every single part of it must be true. Pay close attention to words that can change the meaning of the statement. So all, none, some, most. Watch for absolutes as well. All, none, always, never. Those often indicate the presence of untruth because, again, every single part has to be true. Then you want to go back and address skipped questions. So once you've gone through the test and answered all the questions you know, go back to the ones you skipped. Sometimes other questions on the test may provide a hint or trigger a memory, and that can come up as you're reading them. If a question is particularly challenging, just look away, try writing down what you know about the topic of the question, and see if that sets off any memory in your mind. All it takes is a little trigger to flip that switch. Then check your work. So if you have time left, use it to review your answers. You're checking for careless mistakes, typos, skipped questions, what have you. Okay, that's everything I have for you on studying and test taking. So after all of these strategies, I hope you feel more equipped to approach your next exam. The key takeaway here is that success is often rooted in self-care and effective management of anxiety and overwhelm, just as important as retaining the material itself. Because if you can't dump it out, it doesn't do you any good to have retained it, right? Now, if you find that your anxiety is consistently debilitating and interferes with your ability to focus and perform, it may be helpful to speak with a medical professional. They can provide personalized advice or discuss options that could help calm your nervous system and improve your concentration during high stress periods. Don't be afraid to ask for help.